In this one, we're going to take our very first baby steps into pointers, and it's important that we start getting into pointers early because you'll see them a lot in Go, and admittedly they do take quite a while to understand. So here we're just going to do the very basics. We're going to talk about what pointers are, and then we're going to look at how we can actually use them just to do basic stuff. And then once we start to understand them a bit, later on we'll do more on pointers, and later on more on pointers, rather than giving you a load of stuff about pointers from the start, because you'd forget a lot of it, and plus you won't have the context to apply it to like realistic stuff. So like I say, this is going to be baby steps. So what are pointers? Pointers are the address in memory of a value. And so in this first one, we're just going to look at two different operators, and that is how to get the memory address of the value, and then we're going to look at how we can access the value at that memory address. So we're going to use two different operators here, and that will be the ampersand. So we prefix a variable with the ampersand to get the address of that value that the variable holds, and then we're going to use this asterisk, and this is called the dereference operator, and that is how you access the value at that address. So if none of this is making sense just yet and you're wondering what I'm talking about, memory and all this stuff, don't worry, this will all make sense the more you do it. I don't expect you to walk away from this and instantly know everything there is to know about pointers. Okay, so let's make a start, because the best way to sort of understand pointers is just to use them and use them and use them. Okay, so this very first one will be fairly basic. I'm going to initialize a variable called age, which will hold a value of 30. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a pointer to this. And so the pointer will be lightweight. It won't actually contain any values. So if you imagine if this was a struct with lots of values, it could be take up quite a lot of space in memory. By having a pointer to that, you're just using a small amount of memory because it doesn't contain all the data. You're just pointing to where the value lives. And so here we'll create a pointer. And like I say, the way that we do this is we prefix with an ampersand. And so here we are creating a pointer to age. So when we print these out, age and pointer, you'll see that age will print out the value, but pointer will actually just print out a memory address of where that can be found. So now when we go and print these out, you'll see that age prints out the value because this is just a normal variable, but pointer will not actually hold a value, it will just give us a memory address of where that value lives. So let's prove that just by printing these out. I need to move into the pointer basics folder, that's what I've called this if you want to go and check it out on GitHub. And then we are going to go run main.go. Okay, and so you'll see here, value of age, because that was just a normal variable, we are accessing the value. And so we get a value of 30, but pointer to age doesn't give you the value for it. It just tells you where that actually lives in memory. And so this is a memory address. Now this is a memory address on my machine. Yours will probably, in fact, I'm pretty sure yours will look different. But you should see this format, a 0, an X, and then a bunch of numbers. So next, what if you don't want the memory address? What if you want to actually get that value? Well, in that case, we use dereferencing. So this asterisk dereference operator here. And again, we just prefix the variable. So to get the value at the pointer, we put the asterisk in front of our pointer variable. And if we go and print this out now, you'll see that we've actually accessed the value at that memory address that we are pointing to with our pointer. Okay, so next question, can we actually change the values via the pointer? Well, yes, you can, but you also need to do it by using dereferencing. So I'll show you what would not work. So we can't say pointer equals 35, and I might get some underlining here, and indeed I do. So we're trying to update the age ultimately. So if we go and try and print that out, looking at it, you might think, yep, we've updated the value of age because we're pointing at the same value in memory. but there's one more step, and so here we should see some kind of error. Let's just have a look. Okay, cannot use 35 blah 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 as asterisk int. So there's the clue. So what we need to do is we need to use dereferencing, and so now we should be able to update age. We're pointing at the same value in memory. We're using the dereference operator in order to access that value, and we are setting it to 35. So here age should now be 35. Let's go and check. Run this again. Okay, perfect. So we started out with a value of 30 for the age. We created a pointer which pointed to that value in memory, and we accessed it by looking, or we checked the memory address by printing out the pointer value being a memory address, and then we used dereferencing to get the value for that pointer, and then again we used dereferencing to access and update the value that we are pointing to. Now, probably as you already know, I have textual versions of these lessons which often contain more information than what I tell you in the videos. And so for this one, I'd say that this is one of those lessons that is well worth reading the actual textual version and just seeing what it says there, because it will explain things in a little bit more depth, and it'll use some more probably correct names for some of the things which I've described. Okay, so in the description you'll see a link to where you can go and see the textual version of this lesson. But next, let's have a challenge. Okay, so this is going to be fairly similar to what we've just done, but having a go at it yourself will help this stuff sink in. And the pointer stuff really does need to sink in, because we'll be using them a lot and you'll be seeing them a lot. And if you don't understand the basics, you're going to struggle with them. Okay, so challenge: create a program that declares a score variable set to 100, creates a pointer to that variable, and then updates the value to 150 using the pointer, and then print out the updated value. So the updated value of the original score variable. Okay, so based on what we've just seen and what we've just spoke about, I think you can have a go at this. Pause me now and give that a go. Okay, so we need a score variable set to 100. So score 100. And then we want a pointer to that variable. So if anything, this is the bit that you might get the wrong way around. So it's pointer, and you can call the variable anything. You don't have to call it PTR. And then we'll use a short declaration syntax, and then we prefix the existing variable with the ampersand. And then what we want to do is we want to update the value to 150. Can you remember how we did that? We use the dereference operator in front of the pointer this time. Now, pointer has already been initialized, and because it's already been initialized, we just need the equals sign here. So you only use the declaration syntax when you're initially declaring it. Once it's declared, to assign a value, we just use the equals or the assignment operator. We're going to change it to 150. And then we're just going to print this out. We're going to print out score and see what value it holds now. So we'll say updated score. And let's go and run this. Okay, and so we see updated score is 150. And that has been our introduction to pointers. Very important lesson, this one. It's one that you can't really skip. Hope it made sense to you when you had a go at the challenge. If you had a go at the challenge and you did it and it's kind of making sense for now, that is good enough. This will make a lot more sense the more and more we do it, and we're going to do it a lot more. So hope you enjoyed it. Give the video a like and make sure you subscribe for more Go Bytes. If you have a friend that's learning Go and they're not really sure about pointers, why not show them this lesson if it's helped you? Let's all learn together.